Hmm. Lots of stuff has happened since the last update. Well, to start with, I did the seals in the rear main, and I realized when I was putting on that flywheel back there that I forgot these two seals right here. You're supposed to soak them in oil and cram them up in there. Luckily, you don't have to unbolt anything to do that, so I'll probably just do that before we bolt on the oil pan, or before I even get it on the engine, or on the tractor probably. But so yeah, I had to pull out the rear main and put the new seals in because I forgot the seals. Yeah, anyway, I took apart this water pump and cleaned it up, cleaned out some of the rust, put in a new gasket between the water pump and this plate, and then bolted it on. So yeah, that's all ready to go. I got this pulley bolted on all the way. I replaced the seal in this governor housing that seals up the oil in this pulley. This pulley is kind of the seal, the other side of the seal, I should say. But before I put on the governor and the governor housing, I put on this cover here. So yeah, that's ready to go. Then I put on the water pump, then I put on the alternator. And I've been using anti-seize on pretty much everything so far, except for the mains. I just don't really want to risk getting anti-seize in with the oil, because I've heard it can do bad things, and I have no reason to doubt it. But anyway, yeah, we got a couple new radiator hoses. They're like $5 each, so I mean, might as well. I used anti-seize on this radiator hose here. You can see it's still goopy from 2 days ago. But yeah. Anyway, kind of did that because it was so hard to get that thing off. I had to slit the hose and then pound on it with the chisel to get the old one off. But anyway, I replaced all these little grommet thingies and the one right there, and this gasket here. There is a cover for the gear that drives the hydraulic pump, but it never really was leaking, so I don't think I'm going to bother with that. The clutch alignment tool that my friend got me, the same guy who got me the sleeve puller, it was a bit loose in this bearing, so what I did was I wrapped into the shaft in electrical tape until it fit without any play, and that's exactly what it's doing right now. No play. All these bolts here are just sitting there because they're for the clutch that I was about to put on before I realized that I didn't tighten down the flywheel all the way. So that's what I'm about to do right now. I think those are 5/8, but I'll double check. Yep. So this is my torque wrench. It's my tools are everywhere right now. I apologize, but yeah, I've been just going crazy on this project trying to get it done before deadline. This is the 5/8. So yeah, anyway, there we go. But this is my torque wrench, just basic 1/2-inch torque wrench, click stop. I do have another one with the little thingy that it measures the bend in the handle, and that's how it tells you how much torque you're having, but that's not click stop. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to well, I'm gonna tighten this down and put on the clutch. If you're wondering how I'm going to lock this crankshaft without any pistons in here while I tighten the flywheel, well, right now I'm just sticking a wood-handled hammer down there. Make sure it's wood or plastic or something softer than metal, because anything metal or harder than metal will likely damage it. That's why I'm using a soft wood right now. If I stick that down there, I'd have to go and get the crankshaft reground and probably need a new block because it damaged the Not really sure what you call it, the place where the sleeve, I guess call it the cylinder, but the place where the sleeve goes in, you'd probably damage that, so you'd have to get a new block. Well, there we are. So, I think I'm going to pick up the throw-out bearing, pick up the clutch pedal, pull back the throw-out bearing to install this. We're pretty much ready to put this engine on, except for the fact it's facing the wrong way. That's easily fixed. Uh-oh. Maybe not. It's easier said than done, but possible. Just I put the chain on wrong. Oh well, let's do it. Well, it was quite a job, but it's now mated with the tractor. Now I just got it bolted on. It's only hanging off these two bolts right here. Yeah, it feels good to have it on. Clutch feels like it used to. Yeah. Well, after I'm finished eating my lunch there, which is the tail end of a bag of chips, I'm going to bolt this on all the way. Well, got it fully bolted on. Well, there she is on jack stands. You can see two back tires there. Right around the corner of that feeder you can barely see the front tire. And the other front tire right there. As you can see, I just lightly bolted on the head and valve cover just for sandblasting and painting purposes. So yeah. Anyway, we're ready to sandblast and paint it. Well, I built myself a new air compressor. It's about 20 psi to shut off. It's a Leeson 1.5 horsepower motor. I know the belt's off center, but it doesn't squeal. Works for me. I can't get it to stay on the center. It's a K-series belt on K-series pulleys. I got this air compressor, and the guy had a 230 volt, a dedicated 230 volt motor hooked up to 110. So he gave it to me because he couldn't get it to work. Well, I hooked it up to 110, didn't work, which is what I expected, so I hooked it up to 220, and worked just fine. I used it for a month, crapped out. The starting capacitor on the motor crapped out. I guess running a 230 volt motor on a 250 volt plug might have done it. I don't know. Anyway, it should be basically the same, whatever, but anyway, that motor crapped out, so my grandpa got me a hold of this Leeson 1.5 horse with the same shaft size, dual capacitor, which is nice. Starting capacitor is bigger one, running capacitor is the smaller one here, and it works pretty well. I just had to rewire the switch because I'd taken all the electrical crap off because I was planning on putting a gas engine on here. I actually bought a brand new Honda clone, GX200 clone, and I couldn't find a pulley the right shaft size that was made for this build. Oh well. But yeah, that's why I didn't end up using that. Then I got pissed at it. I couldn't get it machined out because it cost $105 to machine it out, and probably another $80 to rekey that pulley. There's plenty of meat to machine it out, but it's way too expensive, and I can't find another one with the right shaft size. So my grandpa got me a hold of this one. He got it for free, brand new, and he gave it to me because he wasn't using it. There's a full story on this motor I'll have to cover in another video. There it goes. But anyway, as you can see, these are the two wires going to the motor. They're on the top. The line is on the bottom. Power, that is. I have it hooked up to 120 volt, 30 amp right now. It's a dual voltage motor though. I had it hooked up to 15 amp, but the breaker didn't like it very much, so I used the 30 amp camper plug. But anyway, I had originally wired the motor on this side, in the line on this side. So I couldn't figure out why I kept popping the breaker right away. Until I actually read the directions on the switch and said, well, that's why. I'm being stupid and not reading any directions. Anyway, sandblasting with it today. It's pretty slow because it's really slow because this motor spins at half the RPM as the old one. But I don't really mind as long as it makes air. I would have preferred a gas powered, but I guess this works. I'll probably end up selling this and getting one with a V-groove flywheel on the pump, so I can actually get a pulley to run my gas engine that I still have. Anyway, I'm sandblasting today. As you can see by all the shit on the ground. I tried to clamp this board in my vise and it just crinkled. Oh well. As you can see, the sandblaster leaks a bit. It's brand new, but it leaks. Oh well, what you get for buying cheap. This is what I've done so far. I'm probably gonna hand sand that off because I just can't get it off. I just can't get it off with the blaster, but anyway, it's coming off fairly well. I'll have to do some finishing hand sanding, or I might not. Maybe some of these big areas here. All these parts I had blasted and primed, except for that one and that one. I'd blasted and primed with Rust-Oleum primer, but then I realized that the paint I'm going to be using isn't compatible with that primer, so I had to blast it off again. Anyway, there it is, all cleaned up. Like I said, you're going to have to do a bit of hand sanding unless it's smooth. It's pretty darn smooth. I think I might just leave that. But this is the console. This is where the steering wheel goes, the throttle, dash light, and then speedometer, temperature, oil pressure, and ammeter. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to repaint the fan with just Rust-Oleum black. As soon as I get some, I'll sandblast it and paint it with Rust-Oleum. We haven't gotten the paint yet, but we have got the primer. That compressor's probably going to kick on again in a minute. This is half of the primer. It's a Dew Point shale gray primer, just basic stuff. And here's the other half, and then this is just a bit of thinner. He threw in some mixing sticks and some funnels. So we're going back today for the paint, and this is a gun I'm using. I was screwing around with it a bit there it goes. I was screwing around with it a bit with the Rust-Oleum paint the other day. As you can see, it's got paint all over it. Yes, it's Harbor Freight, but it works for me. Ooh, shiny. Yes, I'm not wearing a hat. That's probably the first time you'll ever see that. Yeah, it's just basic high volume, low pressure gun. Yeah, I was screwing around with it a bit yesterday and the day before, but today we're getting into actually paint it. As soon as that compressor's done topping off, I'm going to sandblast this fuel tank. And first I gotta take off these fasteners, which will need 2 hands. But yeah, I'll sandblast the fuel tank. Really should have bought a blasting cabinet too. All this sand everywhere for doing the small parts. Might as well have used this blasting cabinet. Anyway, yeah, that's just what I'm up to today. Wow, this video's already getting long. Well, I better hurry up with it. Well, I was rocking and rolling really well till ran out of sand. Look at that paint, it's already faded. Cheap. Look at the legs. That one and that one, the legs can't even support the weight. Those used to be straight. The legs can't even support the weight of this thing. Anyway, I just closed that valve off like that while I filled it up. And I just put the top back on and letting it refill up again. That's why the compressor's running. If you're wondering what sand we're using, I'm keeping it in here because it's protected from rain and crap. But we get it at Home Depot, $8 for a 100-pound bag. Silver sand, 60 grit. See, 100 pounds. We spend $8 per bag. We still have 300 pounds left. There's only 2 bags there, but there's 1 bag in the Bronco. So yeah. This paint on this trailer is just garbage. Almost as bad as that paint. But anyway, yeah. Just waiting for the air compressor to top off now. I'm probably going to go take a dump and come back and start sandblasting again. But everybody's spending $30 for 50-pound bags of glass beads. And 60 grit sand works just fine. I don't know why people spend so much money on it. I mean, if I was using the gas air compressor, Tony's using it right now, which is the ideal compressor because it pumps so much air in so little time. But I can, for about $20, I can sandblast for an hour. If I was using that other, I was using that glass beads, it'd probably be somewhere around $150 to $200 an hour to sandblast. But I can do it for about $20 an hour using that sand and a gasoline air compressor. I'm not too sure about the electric air compressor because it has to work pretty hard to keep up with this, but oh well. Anyway, I'm gonna go take a dump. Oh, well, it's done now. I'm still gonna go take a dump. Well, the tank's done. It's got a bit of gooey spots I'm gonna have to go over when I have more pressure, but that's okay. Plus, it's the bottom of the tank. It's not really gonna hurt anything if a little tiny piece of paint comes off right there. The rest of it'll stick. This is actually a surprisingly solid tank for being the original. At least I hope it's the original. It is. I just now noticed that. I mean, like, just now, but it does have one little crack there. That might have been where it was leaking, because it did leak when it got under pressure in the hot sun. But yeah, it actually cleaned up pretty nice. I just finished blasting it like 45 seconds ago. So yeah. Anyway, the tank's done. Besides the fan, all these parts are done. That's an axe head that I was screwing with yesterday. And I thought there was one other part that I did, but apparently not. But anyway, pretty much all those parts are done. I didn't really get up here very well. Well, when I go to take off that grime, I'll get it. As you can see, there's a couple specks that didn't really come off all the way with the blaster, but that's fine, as long as it's smooth. Another plus about sandblasting is when you're hitting it with sand going like 500,000 miles an hour, it puts a little ding in the middle, and that gives a place for the paint to grab onto. After this paint cures, you probably couldn't chisel it off. You'd have to, use a sandblaster to get it off. Another bit of good news is when the switch is off, of course, and after the belt was warmed up from using it, I pushed it over onto the pulleys, and it's actually totally on the pulleys now. It's not exactly where it should be, but I mean, it's 100% on the pulleys. Well, it's 95% on this one, but that's still an acceptable amount. So that's good. Belt's staying on better. Pump's getting a little bit warm. These pumps are really kind of supposed to stay cool, but since I'm running it so slow, it's only turning at about 300 RPMs right now. It should be turning at about 1,000 RPMs for proper cooling. But since it's turning so slow, there's almost no air coming out. I mean, right here, I can't feel a thing. So it's not really getting adequate cooling, so after this, I'm going to shut it off. I'll shut off the tank, unplug the hose that does leak at the female coupler over there, and I don't know, take a half-hour break and let this cool off for a minute. Well, I just poured some water on my pump like 45 seconds ago, and it's taking its time to steam it off, so it's not really as hot as I thought it was, which is definitely a good thing, because these air air pumps don't handle heat very well. The motor isn't very hot either. It's hotter than the pump, but not nearly as, I mean, it's hotter than the pump, but not as hot as it could be. It's just about ready to shut off. It's about 120 right now. I just finished doing the gas tank, and I just finished touching up what I missed on the gas tank, and I set up my, just turned off, but I set up my table here. It's just a piece of 1/4-inch plywood on a couple of cheesy sawhorses. Best thing I could do at the time anyway. So yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All kinds of sand everywhere. This is my, mineral spirits. This was my mineral spirits bowl, because it's stainless steel, easy to clean. This is the latex primer I was screwing with the other day. See, this is what I like about latex. It just comes off so easy. On slick surfaces anyway, but if you put latex on wood, forget it, you'll never get it off. Now for painting, I was thinking I was going to have to run into town for an air dryer. But I've run 300 pounds of sand through this sandblaster today, and I'm not even seeing any moisture in this air dryer here. Not even any moisture, not humidity, not anything. Well, that's why it wasn't really blasting very well, but I had it cranked up a lot more closed than I thought it was. I usually run it about half. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah. I don't think I'm gonna have to run an air dryer, because, I mean, there is absolutely zero moisture coming out of this compressor here. I think since the air inlet is so high, or the outlet I should say, is so high, all the moisture's just staying in the bottom of the tank here. And I mean, it's not really coming out, which is definitely a good thing. So I don't think I'm gonna have to get an air dryer, which is a really good thing. Because I don't have one. I have to figure out how to peel this one off or get a new one. But yeah. Got my paint gun over there, the regulator on it, getting ready to paint all those parts, and I'm just painting these front axle supports, or not painting, blasting these front axle supports, and I'm gonna finish them as soon as the air compressor's done doing its thing. And yeah, we'll be painting. These are close to all the small parts, not everything though. But I'll do the rest of the small parts when I do the rest of the tractor. Because I don't really have that much sand left. I only have 200 pounds of sand left. This is my third load, which would make, including the stuff that's in here, I've used 300 pounds today. So yeah. Anyway, we're Cheechin'. So I just got finished priming. I still have just a little bit left, but I have a reverse side to do on some of them, so I'm gonna give them probably an hour, figure out somewhere to stand this up, because you can't lay it on the side or it'll all spill out. Top isn't top sealed, but not that well. This actually came out surprisingly well. I don't know how well you can see that with that shadow being right there. But this isn't even in a paint booth, because you can see little bugs everywhere. But this has come out. I had this gun tipped down. Oh, nothing spilled out. That's definitely a good thing. I probably sprayed like $10 of primer right here. Expensive stuff, but anyway. I wasn't planning on painting these today, but I had so much left over. I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. As you can see, it's got some little chunks in there, but as long as most of it's good, I think it'll be just fine. This is actually, I'm really happy. I was very nervous about how this was gonna lay down paint. This is a 1.4 nozzle, and the guy said to use a 2. well, you can't even get a 2 for this gun. This is the only nozzle that they have. So I was pretty nervous about how well it was going to lay down, but it actually laid down really, really, really well. Especially for my first large job with a gun like this. I did a door on Tony's Peterbilt. It's the only door with a drip. And I did a little bit when I was 6, like that area right there when I was 6. So this is my first large project with a gun like this. I've probably used 20 gallons in rattle cans, but my first project with this air-powered gun. So yeah, I set it to a very, very, very fine mist, so I could take my time. It took like 30 passes, but I got it to what it looks like now. And reason why I set it so fine mist is even with the rattle cans, sometimes I get drips, but this just came out so well. I'm extremely happy with how well it came out. You guys don't understand how happy I am. Anyway, hopefully that tip won't clog up. I doubt it will. I might end up dump this. Oh, I still need to wash out this cup. Oh, almost forgot about that, but I'll probably dump this in there, cover that up, put it in the fridge, and wash this out. Then in a couple hours probably, I'll flip some of the parts, or I guess flip them all over and finish painting them. Or priming them, I should say. Yes, I know I did the cap, and I did that on purpose. It's supposed to be chrome, but it was a screwed cap anyway. I'm probably going to get a new one. So the, primer in the mixing cup was already starting to set up, so I decided just to soak everything in mineral spirits. The gun's down in there, too. It's soaking. I need to add more to get the entire cup here. But that's what I'm about to do right now. Well, there's my stuff to soak in mineral spirits. Uh-oh, that's not good. I just stepped on the regulator. Shouldn't have been on the ground. But, yeah. Parts dried a lot faster than I thought they would. So I did the other side tonight, so yeah. I should have welded that before I painted it. Oh well. I just barely touched that, and there's got a bit of paint on my fingers, so they're still wet even after dinner. Didn't really expect them to dry up very fast. There's a little paint chip that showed up while I was priming this, so I'm gonna have to just scrape that off tomorrow morning after these are cured. Don't really want to flip that over right now, but the other side is pretty close to fully cured. Or not fully cured, but hard to handle. Like, whatever. Anyway, yeah, this primer that I'm using, it's 1 part to 1 part of, this is Kolar VF 525. So 1 part of that to 1 part of Kolar 2.1 ST. And 15 or 13 to be precise. I just did 13% this T1021 thinner. So yeah. Anyway, that works really well. It's kind of got an orange peel finish, which I really like. But of course, this isn't the finished coat. The finished coat will be perfectly smooth, which I'm not really a big fan of perfectly smooth. In the same way, I'm not really a fan of perfectly clean trucks. I'd like a dirty truck with just a little bit of an orange peel finish, like this stuff right here. That would be that's how I'm gonna paint that truck down there. There's a whole nother video on this truck. That's my truck. But yeah, that's how I'm gonna paint that truck. Just a tiny bit of orange peel like that. And I'm probably never going to wash it. Well, my Bayou is a really good example. I probably haven't washed this thing in 6 months. I sprayed the dust out of the rims and a bit of mud off the fenders yesterday with the air gun, but that's about it. Anyway, I gotta feed the horses. See you guys later. So I've been sandblasting with this 20-gallon tank for a few hours, day before yesterday. All day yesterday, I was mainly painting. I think I did just a little bit of sandblasting, not much. But I've been using this 20-gallon tank, which is just fine. I mean, I can blast for about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, and then I have to wait a couple minutes for that to air up, more like 10 minutes, because it's filling up the sandblaster and the 20-gallon tank on a motor that turns at half the speed of the stock one. So this is what I did. It's going to be even more waiting, but longer sandblasting times. And I'm also planning on replacing that 7-gallon tank right here with Tony's gas-powered air compressor, which is the one I was originally using. His compressor is 8 gallons, and it also creates air. So I'd have 2 air sources and an extra gallon of air from what I have now. But yeah, I kind of made this 3-way splitter. There was a 3/8 to 1/4-inch adapter here, and then just actually this one right here. Fitting, plugged a hose in, worked great for a couple minutes. But anyway, this should provide all the air my heart desires. Yeah, I'm just letting the compressor fill everything up. It's only at about 25-30 pounds right now. It's been running for a couple minutes. But yeah, as you can see, this one leaks a bit. When I press it on, it's okay, so I'm probably gonna have to replace that, which is, I have no shortage of those. But anyway, this black line and this 1/4-inch line here, this is 3/8. This is 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 inch. But yeah, this black 3/8 line goes to this 1/4 inch line, which goes into this 7-gallon portable tank. Oh yeah, I remember this leaked. I'm probably going to have to do something about that leak. Anyway, yeah, this is a 15-gallon Craftsman tank. As you can see, I've used it as a painting stand a couple times. But yeah, 15-gallon Craftsman tank plus 20, that's 35 gallons there. Plus that's 42 gallons of air, plus whatever can be in the sandblaster, and that adjusts as the sand is used up. I'd say this is a 15-gallon tank here. So we'll say when the sand's half full, 32, 40. We'll say we have 50 gallons of air when this is half full, roughly 50 gallons. And that is a lot of air. And this 3/8 fitting will use it up quite fast, but it'll be possible. But I hate air leaks, so I'm probably going to replace that one. What I'll have to do is to replace it is I turn off this valve, unplug all these, so if I only unplug one, the other 2 will drain out that one, even if this valve is shut, because this valve doesn't affect any of these. This valve only affects what goes into the tank here. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much the setup I have right now. Yeah, I'm sure this video is getting really long. It's been like 3 or 4 days I've been filming this video. So yeah. Anyway, I'm probably going to replace that fitting right now and fix a couple of the air leaks on that tank. And yeah. Oh, I just stopped it. Oh, I only slowed it, but I stopped it there. But anyway, yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna fix a couple of these leaks, replace this female coupler, probably just junk that one. I hate air leaks. If you know me, you know I hate air leaks. And then, whoops, this adapter right here is a 3/8 pipe adapter, and I just crammed a 3/8 bolt in there because it's what worked at the time. And this female coupler is leaking too. So I gotta fix both of those. And yeah, after that we'll be cheeching. So probably what I'm gonna do right now is unplug all 3 hoses for the moment. just like that. And then that tank will fill up. Only it's 20 gallons, probably shut off in like a minute. And I'll fix the couple that are leaking there, and we'll call it good. This one will tell us how much we had gotten. Oh, we had gotten like 50 psi in that time, in 5 minutes. Cool. Anyway, yeah, we're cheeching. Uses for a flatbed truck, number 327. Hauling half a ton of sand. Looks like one bag just broke open. Oh well. Not a big loss for $8 for 100 pounds. Lose 2 pounds, no biggie. So your truck doesn't like it?
Every hill I hit 60 miles an hour. This one has a...
Yeah, that's fine. No big loss for $8 for 100 pounds if you lose 1 pound. Alright, I think we're gonna put 500 pounds in here, and then the rest in here. How about that?
Get that for whacking.
You ain't gonna help me?
I just moved these twice.
Didn't the guy at the Home Depot load them for you? Oh. Alright, see you later.
Adios.
I just got done shop vacuuming his truck. I got to plug in these chickens, because they're probably getting cold already. I unplugged it to clean out his truck. Go in. There. Why is it not turning on? Apparently he didn't want the old bag that I sent with him, so he could get the same exact stuff. Anyway, he's off. Later, Jared. Yeah, this thingy isn't working. There we go. Now, as long as they don't bump it, they should be good for the night. Okay? So, don't bump it, and you'll be warm. Sound good? Plus, they could all huddle together and probably survive in the middle of a snowbank, but oh well. We give them just for an extra little comfort. Hey Levi, you want to come see what I broke? It's only a hose, nothing major, but it's still broken. I was waiting for the air compressor to fill up and the hose burst. Come look. There's a little crack right here. It's a cheap hose. I'm probably gonna have to get a new one, but I need to keep doing this. It's a cheap hose, but
does it look like very strong rubber?
yeah, look at that. It sandblasted itself. I'm gonna have to cover that up with some paint, I guess. Yeah, cheap hose, but I need to keep doing this, so I'm just gonna take that off, chop it, and put it back on. It'll be a couple inches shorter, but a couple inches won't matter. And I need to cover up that thing before it rusts with some clean metal primer. That's just the first thing I grabbed. Here, shake that up. And keep shaking it until about 30 seconds after you hear the ball rattling. There you go. Now keep shaking it for another 30 seconds. It dripped a bit, but oh well. I don't really care, as long as it doesn't rust. Anyway.
Not much left.
Yeah, I'm just gonna chop off this hose and put it on shorter. Well, there's the rip. I don't know if you can see it. There it goes. Cheap hose. It's one that came with the blaster. I just filled this thing up too, so it probably only has like 40 pounds of sand in it, because I immediately shut this off and shut this off, but I forgot about the valve on the bottom, so it took me about 30 seconds to figure out why it kept shooting sand. Anyway, time to start the compressor back up. Well, it's coming out really well. All I have to do is the back side of this tire and both sides of this wheel, and I've pretty much got everything done. besides that. So yeah, I think I'll cut this video off here. It's almost 2 weeks in the making at this point. I just been poking away at it little by little. When I mentioned the orange peel on the original first setups, I just kept thinking, that isn't right. So I got talking to my friend Tony, who used to be a car restorer. He actually still does do a lot of his own painting, and the recipe that the guy gave me at the paint shop made it way too thin, or way too thick, I meant. And I was figuring it was something like that because it's just barely coming out of the gun. And watching videos on YouTube, it's like spraying out, like you could tell from a mile away that it was coming out of the gun. But anyway, I did that, and it's turning into a much... crap, I just put a fingerprint in it. This is still wet. I painted it a couple hours ago, but it's still wet. But it's turning into a much, much nicer finish now that we have the gun dialed in, which is definitely a good thing. I mean, you can just lightly touch it like to wipe off a bug or something, but you can't press it. So yeah, I'm very happy, and I'm drop dead surprised that I'm not dripping anything. Because with rattle cans, if you've ever seen me use a rattle can, it's ugly. There's drips everywhere. Anyway, yeah, I think I'll cut this video off here. Oh, and I have the back side of this fender to do. I forgot about that. So yeah, I did both sides of these wheels, both sides of that fender. Bunch of other things, including gas tank that are in there. One side of that fender, that wheel. So I'll turn over that wheel, sandblast it and paint it. Do the other side of this fender, and then do the top side of this wheel tomorrow. And then do the underside of this wheel the next day. And yeah. So that's pretty much it. Then we get to move on to this thing. As you can see, I still have some masking to do. I'm going to see if I can get that handle off of there. But yeah. I'm thinking I'm going to take this off because it's only 2 bolts. Probably take that off. I'm thinking I don't really want to screw up the timing, so I'm thinking I'll just put a tin can over the distributor. What do you guys think? Anyway, I'm probably going to, definitely going to take this hose off, but I'm going to take off this pulley and paint it black. That one's going to stay red, and this aluminum piece will probably be just cleaned up. And I'm putting the manifold on without the carburetor, and yeah. And that's how we'll paint that. Anyways, out of memory, so yeah. Thanks for watching this video. It's like 2 or 3 weeks in the making, so hopefully you enjoy it.